Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this, your Gemini January 2024 reading and forecast. Hi, I'm Nigel Saint James, clairvoyant. And this month we have a great deck. My daughter found this for me in a flea market. It was just tied up with string. Had no box or papers or anything with it. I can't tell you what it's called, but you may know it. If you do, just let us know in the comments below. And of course, I've done a number of one-on-one clairvoyant readings for people over different parts of the world, over FaceTime and Skype. I've also done a number of healings as well. Now, healing is a spiritual gift that I was provided with at birth, and I am to provide it to people who ask for it, and I am to get nothing in return. So, healing is free, without any obligation, and with no strings attached at all. Now, readings, of course, I charge for, but you'll find that it is something that will bring you a lot of peace and solace. Now, details of readings and healings can be found in the description, as you would imagine. Now, let me say this also, it's good to see the subscribers again. Thank you for welcoming me into your home. I truly appreciate your company. I see you as being part of my extended family. Really, I do. And it's wonderful to see you. Many blessings your way. Now, let us get the 5 cards underway. There are no advertisements in this video, by the way, so you get to enjoy it uninterrupted. Now, let's take the 5 cards. That's all we need. Now, show me the magic. 8 of Wands. 5 of Cups. Queen of Cups. Let's see what there is here. 4 of Swords. And finally, there is from here, the 2 of Cups. Wonderful to see that. Now, as is our usual practice, why don't you come sit down next to me? I'll bring the camera around so you and I can have a good, close look at the imagery on these cards together and let them speak while I do the reading for you. Now, a lot of esoteric imagery in this set of cards for you by the looks of it, so I might point out a couple of things. But first, we are going to look at this energy here, which clearly is, I think, important for you and has a lot to do with what is going on in your life. Let's have a look at the painting itself. Now here, this is the Queen of Cups, of course, and she's holding this grail, for want of a better word, close to her heart. The Queen's body, and there's another grail opening up here. Now, the grail actually is symbolically, in spirituality, the means by which a person drinks in the divine. And the Queen's body, in order to get that divine, one has to be pure of heart, I suppose. It doesn't mean to say that you have to have led a good life or to be doing things that you necessarily agree with, but just to be open to Spirit. The Spirit loves everything and everybody. Now, what there is also here is there is a transformation of this grail into a much larger portion from which the moon itself is coming up here. And that shows about this illumination of spirituality that's come here as well. Now, these are these reeds that grew along the Nile and probably other places as well, called papyrus. Well, this is growing out of the deep subconscious waters, and they burst with stars of everlasting existence. Now, I don't know if you can see it in here, but there is a fish, and it represents your soul wisdom that seeks to reveal itself. Now, there's lotus, which is in here, which is like a mandala that speaks of, and these lotuses down here, they speak of purity, wisdom, and enlightenment. So you will have wisdom during this period here. Now, this red ibis, I imagine is what it is, that symbolizes the connection of the heart and divine wisdom. And its message to you is to listen to your soul self. Now, she has a necklace here, which is of embellished with the pearls of divine wisdom. I won't call it a pearl necklace for the obvious reason, but this is a necklace here made up of pearls, and her hair has 3 braids on either side of her head, representing the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. Now, her crown also is made up of, well, of scallops, precious jewels, and pearls. And this mandala is decorated with these signs here, and it speaks of the central points here of the spiraling energy of this goddess. Now, I've got to say there's a lot of Gemini around this energy here as well. And I think Cancer is liable to be important to you as well. Do you know what's going to happen is, for you, I think that you are going to be very susceptible emotionally to what it is that's going on around you during this time. You will be emotionally susceptible to the actions of other people, to their words, or to events that come about. Now, you'll be able to see yourself in others and also see through others and kind of reflect that back to them. You will be an observer, very intuitive during this period, quite poetic, kind, yet passive, and there's a possibility of psychic awareness is what I'm getting around here. But emotions are going to be shown openly, and you will have emotional integrity, even if others do not. Now, this calm water on this pond, it sort of, in a sense, could reflect her, and it could touch her deepest emotional, the deepest emotional reaches of her being. You will be in contact with your feelings and show them openly and authentically. And there may be some people around you who may not always understand you at this time, but that is not a problem for you. And I don't think that you are going to compromise emotionally, for in order to do so, you'll have to deny yourself, and you would lose the glow of your beauty in doing so. This is a time when you'll be intuitive and emotionally mature and able to get on with others. And there is the need for you to get in touch with your inner feelings and express them to others. I've got to say this again, it's coming through that, as your mother always said, you are judged by the company you keep. And so you are able to take on board the positive from others, and the negative from others will affect you. Everything is going to pass through you. You're going to be very influenced by the environment and other people. You're certainly going to be very attractive to other people, and you'll have the ability to lead others. And I think you could be very popular during this time, but vulnerable in a strange way as well. Now, you know that by showing your feelings openly, you become beautiful. There may be people who don't understand you. Don't concern yourself about it, because there are enough others with whom you can share your feelings. Are you open to your emotions and feelings? Trust your feelings. Live in harmony with them, and say to yourself, my openness and vitality, they make me beautiful. Yes, very vulnerable I think you are going to be, and I just have a feeling, a sense that you might have a moment of disappointment in somebody or something. Let's have a look at this. Oh, this is a sort of a classical view of or image that we've seen in so many tarot decks, I guess. And here we have a cloaked person staring down at these 3 spilled cups. The spilled cups of loss, disappointment, and regret, perhaps. There are dark rain clouds here, hanging overhead, and rain is pouring down. Now, rainbow butterflies, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the 7 chakras, they are the butterflies of transformation, And they emerge out of these two golden cups here, and they head up towards the rainbow and spirit. Now, this green butterfly in the center here, that represents the heart chakra, and it symbolizes the healed and transformed heart. The rainbow itself symbolizes hope and the bridge between heaven and earth, and the brilliant sun shines out with healing rays of new beginnings. Now, why do I say that there could be a moment of disappointment, quite apart from that feeling of regret that came up with that spilled cup image? It's because I see Mars in the first decan of Scorpio here, being the 23rd of October to the 2nd of November. Now, it may interest you to know that numerologically and mystically, I have Mars associated with the number 5 as well. So, normally we'd expect a really good aspect with Mars in Scorpio, because Mars is the ruler of Scorpio. Mars in its feminine form, ruling the feminine sign of Scorpio. But we have 2 doses of Mars. So what happens is that there may well be the heat generated from a double Mars could evaporate the waters of Scorpio, which means that you could be feeling let down or feeling disappointed by something or someone. Maybe there's an unfulfilled expectation, a loss of sense of balance, problematic relationships, some sort of unexpected disturbance. Maybe your expectations were much too big, and some unexpected event, perhaps only a thoughtless reaction, has ruined them abruptly. And the aggressively destructive energies of Mars now dominating the scene have probably been, I suspect, smouldering beneath the surface for maybe a long time, and you've overlooked them, perhaps because you didn't want to admit to their existence, and you've ignored the warnings of your inner voice. But now you have to face the sobering fact and look the fact in the eye. Also the feeling of an anticipated pleasure which was or is frustrated in some way. Well, look, maybe something hasn't worked out as expected. This energy is saying, don't sit in a corner in self-pity and regret, because new and better experiences are in store. You are becoming maybe disillusioned with the life ahead of you and your future, but you must not, because there are such good things here, and particularly in the case of love and relationships. I think maybe what it is that you might feel disappointed by someone else's actions. Well, find it in your heart to just let it go. I think the feelings that surface with this energy can often give rise to fear. Fear of taking another risk, or of making an effort in the future, or hiding away in some place where you can't be disappointed again. But don't. See, either some much too high expectation of yours has been crushed, or somewhere deep inside you lurks the fear of some disappointment. Well, now is a good time to learn from this disappointment. And in what areas of your life do you fear disappointment? What have you learned from the disappointments you've experienced in your life until now? And we have all had them. And remember, this is a time when you could be particularly vulnerable to it, so don't see it as being something wrong with you. And say this to yourself. Maybe there was a previous disappointment. Now, yesterday is in the cemetery. It's not now. But you need to release that prior disappointment that's there. Say this to yourself. I get to know my own reality by learning to see where I fool myself, or where and when I deny my inner voice Well then, shall we look at the other end of that diagonal down at, what's happening there? Down at this thing. Oh, that's an interesting picture, isn't it? Let's have a look at this. Is it a woman or a man? I'll take it as being a man. Now here is a man who has kind of organised himself a shelter away from this snowstorm that's around. And he's holding on to something in here, which I suppose is some sort of a pouch containing sacred or treasured things. Now these three bears, they are the guardians over him at the moment. Actually, bears symbolize looking into yourself. And you'll see down in this pond over here, there is a salmon. Well, that is symbolic of wisdom and inner knowing. And there's obviously the four swords pointing downwards there. They're embedded in the trees which surround his shelter, symbolizing, I think, time out from the world. And swords, in this context, represent integrating your four levels of consciousness, probably as a result of some disappointment, being your consciousness, which is mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical. And of course, this snowstorm out there symbolizes the chaos or even disappointment, I would suggest, which is now left behind because you are safe. Now, the really beneficial astrology of this is Jupiter in Libra. Now, Jupiter is the great benefic. It brings good luck. It brings opportunity. It brings expansion. And it brings clarity and cleansing and healing. So this is a time of you recuperating from something. A time when you will be taking something of a break. Because Libra tries to find balance in your life. Now, I think that Jupiter is going to give you a period of rest from something which could have been, or a new way of looking at something. And I'm focused on this. New way of looking at something. As well as it also opens your higher mind's flexibility, which is needed to resolve conflicts in your life. Most importantly, Jupiter allows you to move on. So there is a need, I think, to take time out from a stressful situation. If you can manage a holiday, great. Recharge your batteries, a mental health break. Now, conflicts don't necessarily always go away, but time out from them to recuperate and regain your strength is what's necessary. And make the most of any mental health break, but don't put off what needs to be dealt with urgently, as unavoidable things can grow to become bigger or more challenging. And just trust your intuition as to when you think enough rest is right for you. Make the most of this mental health break to be at your strongest when you need to face the issues which you find to be at hand. You see, you have enough inner clarity to successfully carry out your plans. Be sure at all times that you feel good about what is happening. And what supports and what hinders your clarity? Check your surroundings and rearrange them to support calm and centeredness. And say this to yourself: I am at peace within myself. Now let's have a look at this Eight of Wands. Obviously something to do with your heart and a heart chakra that's coming here. Now the first thing which strikes me as interesting in this image is this. Here are 4 bolts of lightning and they are coming in to the heart. These lightning bolts symbolize infusion from the divine. These 8 stars that are here, they symbolize you taking action as a result of divine inspiration or aha moments. And we have here, of course, the heart chakra and the colors of the rainbow, which symbolize the union of spirit and matter. Now, I have Mercury ruling Sagittarius here in the first decan of Sagittarius, and that's the 23rd of November to the 2nd of December. This is the Lord of swiftness. Now, Mercury is the planet of communication. It's about your ability to think, to express yourself, to work things out, to come up with solutions. And Sagittarius, well, it has the swiftness of the arrow. And combined, Mercury and Sagittarius, this is producing in you something of a restless intellect. Now, the number 8 here I have associated with Mercury as well, mystically. So communication is going to be a real forte, a real power, a real talent of yours at this time. Now, 8 is also, for me, associated with power, balance, harmony, manifestation, practicality, skill, and most importantly, about decision. This is a very high energy card that's here, I think. I think that what this is saying to you is that if you state your own standpoint openly, directly, and clearly, any hindrances which are in your way can be transformed. Any misunderstandings are going to be swept away, and then we'll be left with clarity, because you have found your own inner center and can present your position with emphasis and openness. And I think it's also the case that a problem which had appeared insurmountable until now, it's going to fade meaninglessly into the background because of your clarity. And if you overcome the tendency to hesitate and are prepared to call disturbing influences by name, you will rob them of their power to restrict and hinder you. The rainbow is also a symbol of wholeness, and it indicates that a process is coming to an end. You look back, realizing that the difficulties of the past have helped you bring the learning process to completion. So what this is really doing is it is highlighting the need for clear communication to manifest the things you want in your life. See, the rainbow colors here, they symbolize manifestation of the highest good. And I think you can expect to be very busy, as this card has a lot of energy propelling you towards your goal. Now, I think you might quickly complete a project that is underway, but determine where your energy is to be directed. Concentrate your force and then get on with it. You can transform any situation, any problem, or any obstacle by taking fast action with direct communication to resolve it. So the moment has come for you to define where you stand. If you are open and remain centered, misunderstandings are going to be cleared away. Is there anyone to whom you do not dare to openly state where you stand? Use this opportunity to open yourself up more to those people who mean something to you. Talk to them and say this to yourself. My openness and my self-confidence opens the heart of those I love. And then that takes us finally, I think, it is finally, isn't it? Let's have a look at this. Yeah, okay. Well, for me anyway, the symbology here is quite straightforward. Now here we have, now obviously the lesbian and gay community can make the necessary adjustment as to the people who are in love with one another here. But here we have two people who are each holding a chalice and are sharing love with one another. These dolphins underneath there are entwined with one another, and they mirror what's going on. This lotus is speaking of purity and love. This star here, that is the star of Venus that's coming up. There's a great big love heart coming out from in between these two chalices here. And here we have the moon. Now, I'm aware that the moon is the ruler of Cancer, and there is Venus, well, which I see as being sensible because this is Venus ruling Cancer. And Venus is about your capacity to attract to you the things or people that you want. Love, relationships, even money, it has to be said. And Cancer is the most fertile of these signs. It's like a woman's womb that can grow a fertilized egg. Do you understand that if you love yourself, you are attractive to others? Your receptiveness towards yourself prepares you to give yourself totally to someone else. A deep emotional exchange will be possible, a giving and receiving of overflowing love. And this union will occur in complete harmony, as symbolized by these two dolphins that are entwined here. You know, the cups are probably not far off overflowing, and this is an image of complete joy and silent ecstasy. Thoughts are free and clear, which is this blue sky, and seen through the eyes of love, the world appears transformed. Do you know that your readiness to receive love makes you attractive? Surrender to yourself, to others, and to life. Now, you will hear of marriage here, or people moving in with one another. You may well have a close friendship or partnership with someone. And there's a love here that is both special and equal, and you'll be able to give and receive love in equal measure. I think it's also the beginning of a harmonious relationship of a romantic nature, and the deepening of an existing relationship where that is what you want. Now, with which persons and in what surroundings can you now share your love? Pay attention to the love coming to you now. Remain open and let it enter you and go deep inside. There is nothing to do but enjoy what life offers. Say to yourself, I am now ready to let into my life the love relationships that will fulfill me. Well, what a fantastic spread of cards and energy, cosmic energy for you. Didn't you do a good job? Well done. Gee, I said that was an interesting deck, didn't I? And what a fantastic set of imagery it was. What a good month it's going to be for you, I think, and don't you deserve it? Truly you do. Fantastic. Well, unless I see you privately beforehand, then I look forward to seeing you again next month. And until then, remember one thing, and it is this, that you are a legend. And I look forward to seeing you again next month. And until then, it's bye for now.